This is Catching Up with the Kernel. I'm your host, Giana Gallo, and today we will be highlighting 3 Kentucky Kernel articles to keep you in the loop of what's going on campus. First, we will highlight Adah Hufana, a staff reporter's recent article on cooking up community, followed by Editor-in-Chief Hannah Stanley's recap on SEJC competition that occurred this past weekend in Troy, Alabama. And finally, Ava Bumgarner informs us on President Eli Capilouto's disagreement with DEI and 10-year bills. A quick disclaimer, the opinions expressed on the podcast are the speaker's own and do not uphold the opinions expressed by the Kentucky Kernel. All right, let's catch up. All right, we welcome our first guest to the news podcast. Would you feel free to introduce yourself?
Yes. My name is Adah Hufana. I'm a staff reporter for the Kentucky Kernel.
And what grade are you?
I'm a freshman.
What was your story on this week?
The story I wrote this week was about cooking up community. It's this series in the College of Agriculture that's all about getting students more connected to their food and making food. And this one was specifically about Black History Month, and it was inspired by the movie The Color Purple. They took inspiration from I guess it was set in Georgia, so they took inspiration from that and made recipes based off of, that region.
Yeah, what did they make during this cooking up community event?
They made 4 different recipes, all of which spelled amazing when I was there in the room. They made hoe cakes, smoked collard greens, sweet potato pie, and the last one I believe was grits. Yeah.
Ooh, out of those 4, which one would you eat?
Probably the sweet potato pie. That's what smelled the best. Yeah. Honestly, I was hungry the whole time I was in that room.
Your stomach is just slowly growling as
No.
everyone's making this amazing food. Who did you interview for this article, and what were their comments on this event?
The main person I interviewed, I would say, was Dr. Giana Price. She was kind of the organizer of the event. She's organized Cooking Up Community before. She's in the College of Ag as one of the people in the Office of Diversity. And she talked a lot about how community kind of starts around the table with people getting connected by sitting down, eating food, and discussing, the day, how things are, and stuff going on in their lives. And she said that was one of the important things about this event, was that it was about getting people together that wouldn't normally sit down and eat together.
Yeah, you kind of answered my next question, but in your opinion, as well as, the people you interviewed, why is this event so important to UK and to students who attend UK?
Well, it is Black History Month right now, and I guess in order to celebrate that, it does require some discussion. And what this event did was, not only did it bring about that discussion in a really, what I think was creative way, but it let people, it wasn't too serious, It let people come together, have fun, and cook things that they might not have eaten before, and also think about different subjects while they were at it.
Well, I really appreciate you writing this amazing article and informing our viewers on Cooking Up Community. Thank you so much for joining us, Adah.
Thank you.
All right, we bring on our second news story for the day. We are going to be talking about the SEJC competition. Who am I here with, please? I feel like you're a regular now on the podcast, but if you could please introduce yourself again.
Yeah, hey everybody, it's Hannah Stanley again, the Kentucky Kernel Editor-in-Chief.
So what happened this weekend for the Kernel?
We took a nice little road trip down to Troy, Alabama, and we competed in our first ever SEJC competition and came out pretty on top, I'd say.
Explain more with pretty on top. What did we win? What was this competition like? Explain the process of the SEJC competition.
Yeah, so overall, it was similar to some other competitions and conferences we go to where there's keynote speakers, on-site sessions, There's also like some kind of award ceremony, but this one had 2 different award ceremonies, and that was because there was a submitted one from a certain deadline that they gave. And then there was also the on-site competitions, and that was something we've never done before. And that we did okay in. I wish we did better, but we did very well in the previously submitted work. We won Best Public Service Journalism as a news outlet, 3rd in Best Website, 1st in Best Newspaper, and a bunch of, I can't even think of all the 1st, 2nds, and 3rds that we won throughout the entire competition.
As the editor-in-chief, what are you most proud of with this team competing in SEJC?
At the end of the day, I don't really think it's all about the awards, and I'm honestly really proud of the fact that we managed to get all of our stories in, get all the multimedia and photos, whatever it may be, on the on-site competition, because that was the main reason we wanted to go and give us a little bit of a different atmosphere than we're used to. And I'm really proud at how hard everybody worked, how much time, effort, practicing, helping each other when we all have the same deadlines most of the time, and just working collectively and not focusing on the individualistic side of things and just not, oh, it's my award, I need to do this, but seeing everybody rally together, even in a time squeeze for sure, it really paid off, and it was really rewarding to see how everybody was there for each other.
Moving forward for the next years that we participate within this competition, what are your goals as an editor to push your staff? What do you want the Kernel to improve on?
The biggest thing is the on-site competitions. I mean, at the end of the day, yeah, awards are nice. It's always good to be recognized for how hard and how well you work. But in the real world, you're working on a deadline. You are working on less than a 24-hour deadline half the time. You need to understand that if you're working in a bigger news outlet or even a small local town, they expect you to have a story in by the end of 5 p.m. And I think this was a bit of a eye-awakening situation for some of our staff, and I'm hoping that we can follow this through for the next few months while I'm still editor, and then pass it on to the next editor-in-chief and just really push for that 24/7, like every single day, get a story up, best quality possible, and just really improving on the timeliness factors that come with reporting news and arts, entertainment, everything in between.
Do you have anything else to add to this?
Nope.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining. I myself was a part of the SEJC competition, and it was so fun, stressful, but very prideful walking back to the Kernel with so many awards, experiences, and lessons. So thank you so much for being a great leader and telling us about the SEJC competition.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
This is the last headline for Catching Up with the Kernel. Who am I here with?
My name is Ava Bumgarner. I am currently a reporter and features writer for the Kentucky Kernel.
And what was your article this week on?
So my article was on the Eli Capilouto opposing the proposed DEI bill that has just been passed through through the Senate.
Yeah, can you tell me a little bit about Capilouto's response and what was that process like? What is your article about?
So basically, it was a brief, so it wasn't too long. It was just kind of going over the email he sent out February 14th. He was basically just stating his opposition to the proposed bill that just went through the Senate. He was informing the university faculty and students of that opposition and how he just completely disagrees with the bill. So for those who are unfamiliar with Senate Bill 6, this is from the legislative website, it is provide that a student or employee of a public post-secondary education institution shall not be penalized, discriminated against, or receive any adverse treatment due to the individual's refusal to support or endorse a specific ideology or political viewpoint to be eligible for hiring, contract renewal, tenure, promotion, or graduation, and prohibit an institution from inquiring into the individual's political or social viewpoints. So what that basically means in a short term is that Senate Bill 6 is supporting diversity of thought. So diversity of thought on a college campus is very important because you have students coming from all different backgrounds, political views, upbringing. So you want to take those different viewpoints and bring them together to allow for that differentiation and different views to really see all parts of the story. And I think on a college campus that needs to be supported and not against.
Yeah, for sure. What does, if you know this answer, I know it's kind of working day to day with this DEI situation and UK's response. Do you know anything about future, what Capilouto might say, if there has been another briefing, an email sent, anything regarding this?
There has not been, so I just checked today. It's still in the House. Nothing has happened since it moved into the House back on February 14th. But future, I guess we'll see what happens in the House, what they decide to do with that bill, and then I'm guessing soon we'll hear from Capilouto on what that next step will be.
Yeah, well, I thank you so much for the article and being on the podcast today and informing everyone about the DEI, the Senate bills, and how important this is, especially on UK's campus. So
it's definitely important. It's the bedrock of democracy, diversity of thought, and I think that really needs to be supported on a college campus today and today's society.
I completely agree. Well, thank you so much, Ava, for coming
Thank
on.
you.
Well, that's a wrap on Catching Up with the Kernel. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. And I want to thank our 3 guests that came on today, Adah, Hannah, and Ava. Thank you so much for amazing articles and keeping us in the loop of what's going on campus. If you happen to miss their articles, feel free to check out our website at kykernel.com. And if you don't want to look there, we also have social media. You can follow us on X, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, or Spotify. And most of all, thanks for catching up with the Kernel. See you next week.